In the decades of Spider-Man portrayals, we've had plenty of different iconic versions of the wall crawler. We've had goats like Christopher Daniel Barnes in the 90s, and Tobey Maguire as the live-action Spider-Man in the early 2000s. Now we have the modern era, with such talents as Tom Holland and Yuri Lowenthal. But I want to talk about the middle era, with two actors considered the greatest of their time, and the definitive interpretations of both live-action and animated Spider-Man. I'm talking about Andrew Garfield, aka the Amazing Spider-Man, and Josh Keaton, the Spectacular Spider-Man. If you grew up in this era, you know the cultural impact that these two legends had on the Spider-Man fan base. Granted, one had bigger shoes to fill than the other one. We've had one guy from Doctor Who in The Social Network, and the other guy, well, being young Hercules. While I love the Sam Raimi films to death, and these are the films that made me in love with filmmaking, the thing that always irked me was Tobey. Nowadays, I've come to appreciate the guy as the veteran sage Spider-Man, but when it came down to his performance as the good old webhead, he felt flat to me. Then came 2012 and the arrival of the lovable goofball that was Andrew Garfield. And in the midst of making every IP like The Dark Knight, Sony decided to take Spider-Man into a darker, more edgier direction.
You know, in the future, if you're gonna steal cars, don't dress like a car thief, man. Is that a knife? Is that a real knife? Yes, it's a real knife. My weakness, it's small knives. Boys in blue here! Yo, I got him! Freeze! He's not you and the Titans don't move! You serious? Who are you? No one seems to grasp the concept of the mask.
While I love the zany world of the Raimi films and the pastel color palettes of New York more appealing, the web reboot definitely has its own flair. I'm going to say something a bit controversial. I think Andrew Garfield is a more comic accurate take on both Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
You what?
Okay, I know. The parent subplot is a bit Ultimate Spider-Man, but the characterization is pretty spot on for me. We have to remember that Peter Parker was kind of a loner in the original outing, snarky and very cynical of the world, much like his original creator, Steve Ditko. Also, Peter Parker was never ugly. Sure, he dressed like a shabby nerd, but if you grew up in high school or college during this era, you'd remember that Peter was basically like a hipster. He was one hop, skip, and a jump away from wearing Vans, popped out 3D glasses, a snapback, and a flannel to boot. Sure, he was different from Tobey, but that's because Tobey's take was more meek and mild-mannered, something akin to more of Clark Kent. But Andrew's Peter has more vocal and bratty traits that the original comic had in spades. While in the Raimi films, Tobey's Peter had a bad life. Andrew's Peter's life was bad due to his own choices, really living up to the great power quandary placed in by Uncle Ben. Choosing to pick a fight with Flash instead of running away from him. Choosing another father figure instead of winning the affection of the woman he likes. And instead of letting her go, Peter brings her back into his life, leading him down a darker path. The cause and effect, great power, and really acting on that responsibility part as seen by the end of his second movie. I will give Tobey this though. When it comes to his Spider-Man No More arc, he did take that in strides better than Andrew. And although their reasoning for quitting being Spider-Man are vastly different, one of them lost their powers due to, I guess, heartbreak, and the other one lost their girlfriend due to their bad decisions. It was Tobey who decided to, not even knowing if he had powers or not, risk his life to save people. Well, granted, Andrew had to be convinced or inspired by the kindness and bravery of one little boy. But when it comes to the nature of just being Spider-Man, I think Andrew will forever go down as a legend. going as far as to be the people's champ when he returned in No Way Home.
Where'd you come from?
Mother Russia, by way of Mother Africa.
2 moms and still so ill-behaved?
Come one, come all, before your very eyes, the world's largest dehydrated turtle.
Oh, I got the thing on the thing. What do I win?
You!
I win me? That makes no sense.
Spectacular Spider-Man has to be the definitive animated version of Spider-Man for me. For a long time, it was Spider-Man the Animated Series, but there's a solid match to Spectacular Spider-Man that holds up even to this day, going as far as to have people rewatching it on YouTube. If Kevin Conroy is the definitive version of Batman in my head, then Spider-Man has to belong to Josh Keaton. Keaton brings a level of charisma that no one has really matched outside of maybe CBD, and yeah, I'll give it to Neil Patrick Harris. His humor is top-notch and really brings out the joy of being Spider-Man. When it comes to being serious or even dramatic, Keaton really pulled out all the stops with his vocal performance. The transition between sly and rebellious Spider-Man and moody and outright anxious Peter Parker was a wonderfully crafted notion by Keaton. Josh has such a great voice that he went on to be the definitive voice of Spider-Man for a long time until unfortunately being replaced by Drake Bell. It's a crime to know that Spectacular Spider-Man ended too soon. And if you want to know more about that behind-the-scenes drama and network complications, see my video below or in this title card. Ultimately, these were 2 great interpretations of Spider-Man that are now sandwiched and lost between the sea of time to more popular versions of Spider-Man. But if you agree or disagree, leave a comment and get a discussion going in the comment section. And if you want to see more, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know the next time we upload. And thanks for watching.
Didn't realize that the show